Welcome to E-commerce Psychology, powered by Growth Suite, the Shopify app that helps stores run smart discount campaigns. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's both fascinating and incredibly relevant to running a successful online business. How e-commerce brands use the psychology of status symbols to influence what you buy. We'll unpack why these cactus work, how they've evolved beyond just luxury goods, and why even understanding the basics can make you a smarter shopper.
It's amazing how much of our buying behavior is driven by, subconscious desires. We'll explore those today and look at how savvy e-commerce businesses are tapping into that to build brands that feel truly aspirational.
Let's start with the foundation. What exactly are status symbols and why should we care about them in the context of e-commerce?
At their core, status symbols are markers, products or brands that signal something about our place in society or within certain groups. This could be social standing, wealth, or even belonging to a niche community of enthusiasts. Think about it, a high-end gaming PC. It doesn't just play games, right? It signals something about the owner's technical expertise and passion within that specific community.
So there's a social element to it, like saying, I'm part of this group, or I've achieved this level of success.
Exactly. Historically, this kind of signaling was tied to survival. Displaying resources meant securing respect and belonging within a tribe, which increased your chances of survival. Fast forward to today, and those deep-rooted instincts are still driving us, even if we're not consciously aware of it.
That's fascinating. It's almost like we're hardwired to want these things, even if they're not essential for our survival in the modern world. But this goes way beyond just showing off, right? A lot of it's about personal identity and achievement, too.
Absolutely. Think about someone who buys a Tesla. Are they just showing off their wealth? Or are they also signaling something about their values, sustainability, innovation, being an early adopter of new technology?
Right.
Status symbols can be powerful statements about who we are and what we stand for.
I've noticed that shift toward values-based status, especially online. It's less about bling and more about aligning yourself with brands that reflect your personal ethics or aspirations. But let's be honest, businesses aren't just appealing to our higher selves, are they? There's a reason this whole status game is so profitable.
You hit the nail on the head. For businesses, status symbols are marketing gold. Not only can they justify premium pricing, but they also create a sense of aspirational desire that drives sales and fosters brand loyalty. People become emotionally invested in brands that represent their ideal selves.
Okay, so we've established that status symbols have a powerful psychological pull both for consumers and for the businesses trying to sell them. Let's dive into the why behind that pull. What are the psychological drivers that make us crave these things in the first place?
One powerful driver is self-esteem. Owning something prestigious can boost our confidence and provide a tangible sense of accomplishment. Think about the feeling of finally buying that luxury watch you've been saving up for.
Yeah,
It's a reward, a symbol of your hard work and success.
I get that. There's a real emotional satisfaction in finally acquiring something you've been working toward. It's like you've leveled up in the game of life.
Exactly. And then there's the social element we touched on earlier. The desire to signal our belonging or status within certain groups. This is where the concept of conspicuous consumption comes in. The idea of buying things primarily for their signaling value, to display wealth or status. While the term was coined way back in 1899 by economist Thorstein Veblen, it's incredibly relevant to today's world of social media, where people are constantly curating their online image and vying for attention.
It's interesting how that plays out differently online. Sometimes it's blatant, showing off designer purchases or exotic vacations, but other times it's much more subtle, using a specific filter or aesthetic that signals you're in the know, part of a certain online subculture.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is that what's considered high status varies wildly across cultures and even within different online communities. A Supreme hoodie might hold high status in one group but be completely meaningless in another.
Right.
That's why it's so crucial for e-commerce brands to understand their specific target audience and tailor their status appeals accordingly.
It makes sense. You need to speak the right language and tap into the values that resonate with your ideal customer. But isn't there a risk of exploiting people's insecurities by playing into this desire for status?
There's definitely a fine line to walk. Some brands prey on people's insecurities and anxieties about fitting in or achieving success. They create a sense of urgency and scarcity, think limited editions, exclusive drops, wait lists that taps into our fear of missing out.
It's like they're saying, buy this now or you'll be left behind.
Exactly. But when done ethically, Brands can tap into this desire for status in a positive way, offering products that genuinely enhance people's lives or help them achieve their goals. Think about a high-end fitness tracker. It can be a status symbol, but it can also motivate people to live healthier lifestyles.
So it's about finding that balance between appealing to our desires and offering real value. But who exactly is buying into all this? Is it just the super rich?
Not at all. The market for status-driven purchases is far more diverse than you might think. Traditionally, yes, luxury consumers were those with old money, established wealth, heritage, a focus on exclusivity. But then you have new money, individuals who have recently gained wealth and are eager to display their success. They're often drawn to brands that signal upward mobility and achievement.
So there's a different kind of signaling going on there. It's not just about belonging. It's about proving you've made it.
Exactly. And then you have the aspirational middle market people who are saving up or stretching their budgets to buy into a piece of that luxury lifestyle.
Right.
They might not be able to afford the top tier brands, but they're willing to invest in more accessible luxury items that give them a taste of that elevated experience.
That's a huge market for e-commerce brands to tap into. But it seems like there's a real challenge in making those products feel exclusive and desirable without actually being out of reach for the average person.
It's a delicate balancing act. Brands have to be strategic about how they communicate value and exclusivity. They might offer limited edition collaborations, personalized touches, or create a sense of community around their brand that makes people feel like they're part of something special.
And we can't forget about those niche communities we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The gamers, the tech enthusiasts, the sneakerheads. Their status symbols might not be about wealth at all, but rather about signaling expertise and belonging within their specific passion group.
That's a great point. And for these communities, authenticity is key. Brands need to show a deep understanding of the culture and values of the group they're trying to reach. Otherwise, they risk coming across as inauthentic and out of touch.
So we've talked about why people buy into status and who those buyers are. Now let's get into the how. How do brands actually go about building that must-have aura around their products, especially in the world of e-commerce where you don't have that physical retail experience?
That's where the magic of brand building comes in. One approach is to emphasize heritage and legacy. Brands like Rolex or Chanel highlight their long history, craftsmanship, and tradition to convey a sense of timeless value and exclusivity. It's like saying, we've been around for centuries and our products are built to last.
That's a powerful message, especially in a world where trends change so rapidly. It's reassuring to buy into something that feels enduring. But heritage isn't the only path to status, is it?
Definitely not. Another powerful approach is to focus on innovation and achievement. Look at brands like Tesla or Dyson.
Right.
They position themselves as cutting edge, pushing the boundaries of technology and design. They appeal to consumers who want to be seen as early adopters at the forefront of progress.
It's like they're saying, we're not just making products, we're shaping the future.
Exactly. And then there's the strategy of scarcity and exclusivity. Think limited edition releases, product drops, personalized engraving, wait lists, and exclusive access for loyal customers. These tactics create a sense of urgency and make people feel like they're part of a special club.
It plays on our innate desire for things that are hard to get.
Okay.
The more exclusive something is, the more we seem to want it.
Exactly. And in the world of e-commerce, you can even take this a step further with things like personalized product recommendations, early access to sales for VIP customers, and curated content that makes people feel like they're getting insider knowledge.
Okay, so brands have these powerful strategies for creating status appeal. But how do they translate those strategies into actual tactics in the e-commerce world? How do they build that aura of exclusivity through a screen?
It all comes down to crafting a cohesive brand experience that reinforces that status message at every touch point. Let's start with product design. The materials, craftsmanship, packaging, even the way a product is photographed on the website. All these details contribute to the overall perception of quality and exclusivity. Are you going for a minimalist, understated elegance, or a bolder, more attention-grabbing look?
It's like choosing the right outfit for a first date. You want to make a good impression and convey the right message about who you are.
Exactly. And pricing plays a crucial role, too. High prices are often used as a signal of quality and exclusivity, but brands also need to be careful not to price themselves out of the market. There are clever tactics they can use, like placing a very high-priced item next to a more moderately priced one to make the latter seem like a better deal.
That's interesting. So it's not just about setting a high price. It's about strategically positioning your prices to influence perception.
Absolutely. And then there's distribution. In the physical world, luxury brands might choose to only sell their products in high-end boutiques.
Mm.
In e-commerce, that translates to selective partnerships, exclusive online retailers, or even creating their own branded online store that feels like a virtual luxury boutique.
It's like that velvet rope outside a trendy nightclub. It creates a sense of exclusivity and makes people want to get in even more.
Exactly. And finally, there's communication. This encompasses everything from advertising and social media to influencer marketing and email campaigns. Status-driven brands often use aspirational imagery and language that evokes a sense of lifestyle and belonging. They might partner with influencers or celebrities who embody their target audience's aspirations.
It's about creating a world that people want to be a part of, even if it's just through owning a piece of that brand.
Exactly. And in e-commerce, you have even more tools to personalize that communication and make people feel like they're part of an exclusive community.
Right.
You can use data to tailor product recommendations, send targeted email offers, and create content that speaks directly to their interests and aspirations.
This is all incredibly insightful. But before we move on to real-world examples, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our sponsor, Growth Suite.
They're the ones who make this deep dive possible.
And they offer some pretty awesome tools for e-commerce businesses looking to optimize their discount campaigns and boost sales. You can try Growth Suite for free on your Shopify store. Just head over to the Shopify App Store and start your free trial today.
We'll be right back after a quick message with more insights on the psychology of status symbols in e-commerce. Welcome back to E-commerce Psychology.
Where we're breaking down how brands use status symbols to drive sales.
Before the break, we were talking about how brands translate status strategies into concrete tactics online.
Things like crafting the perfect product page or using exclusivity to boost desire.
Right. It's about understanding the psychology and then using those insights to create a compelling online experience.
It makes you think, with so many brands competing for attention, how do you make yours stand out and cultivate that must-have aura online?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not just about slapping a high price tag on something and calling it a day.
Definitely not. Consumers are savvy. They can spot a fake a mile away.
Exactly. So how do you build genuine status? I think it starts with a rock-solid strategic framework.
Okay, let's unpack that. What are the core elements of a winning status strategy for e-commerce?
First and foremost, authenticity is key. Your status strategy has to be rooted in your brand's core values and DNA. If it feels forced or inauthentic, it will backfire.
So you're saying know who you are as a brand and what you stand for.
Precisely. And don't try to be everything to everyone. Focus on your niche, understand their aspirations, and tailor your messaging accordingly.
Makes sense. You can't be a status symbol for everyone, but you could be incredibly powerful for the right audience.
Exactly. And think long-term. Building a truly iconic status brand takes time and consistency. It's not about chasing quick wins or jumping on every fleeting trend.
It's like building a reputation. It takes years to build trust and credibility, but it can be destroyed overnight.
That's a great analogy. And remember, exclusivity is a double-edged sword. It can drive desire, but it can also limit your reach.
Right. You don't want to be so exclusive that you alienate potential customers.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between desirability and accessibility.
Okay, so let's say we have our strategic framework in place. What are some actionable steps for bringing that strategy to life in the e-commerce world? How do we execute on this plan?
I'm glad you asked. It starts with market research and analysis. Who are you trying to reach? What are their values, their aspirations, their pain points? You need to understand your target audience inside and out.
So it's like creating a detailed customer persona, really getting into their heads and understanding what makes them tick.
Exactly. And then it's about translating those insights into specific tactics. How can you design your website and product pages to appeal to those desires? What kind of content will resonate with them? What social media platforms do they hang out on?
I imagine user-generated content is huge here. Seeing real people using and enjoying your products, especially if those people are aspirational figures within your target audience.
Absolutely. It's social proof at its finest. And think about how you can use personalization to enhance the customer experience. Tailored product recommendations, exclusive offers for loyal customers, birthday discounts. These little touches can make people feel valued and appreciated.
It's about going beyond just selling a product. It's about building a relationship, a sense of community.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different approaches, track your results, and adjust your strategy as needed.
So it's an ongoing process, not a one-and-done deal.
Precisely. And just like any business endeavor, it requires resources, time, money, and talent. You need a team that understands your brand, your audience, and the nuances of e-commerce marketing.
It sounds like building a successful status brand online requires a mix of art and science. You need the creative vision to craft a compelling brand narrative, but you also need the data and analytics to measure your success and make informed decisions.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's about finding that sweet spot where creativity meets strategy.
This is all incredibly insightful, but before we move on to specific examples, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the ethical considerations of status marketing. It's all well and good to create a desirable brand, but are there potential downsides to playing into this desire for status?
That's an important point. As marketers, we have a responsibility to use these psychological insights ethically and responsibly. We need to be mindful of the potential impact of our actions, both on individuals and society as a whole.
Because ultimately we want to be building brands that people can feel good about supporting, right?
Yeah.
Not brands that exploit their insecurities or contribute to harmful social trends.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between achieving business objectives and upholding ethical standards.
So what are some key considerations for brands that want to build status the right way, in a way that benefits both the business and the consumer?
I think transparency is crucial. Be upfront about your sourcing practices, your manufacturing processes, your commitment to sustainability. Consumers are increasingly demanding this level of transparency.
It's about building trust and authenticity. People want to know that the brands they support are aligned with their values.
Exactly. And think about ways to give back to the community. Partner with charities, support social causes, use your platform to advocate for positive change.
So it's not just about taking, it's about contributing something positive to the world.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of storytelling. Share the stories behind your products, the people who make them, the impact your brand is having on the world. These stories can create a powerful emotional connection with consumers.
It's about going beyond the superficial and creating a brand that people can believe in.
That's a great way to put it. Ultimately, it's about creating a brand that stands for something more than just status or exclusivity.
This has been a fantastic discussion, but before we wrap up completely, I want to bring it back to the individual consumer. Now that we're aware of these tactics, how can we navigate the world of status symbols without falling prey to manipulation or overspending? How can we be smart shoppers without letting our emotions get the best of us?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We all want to feel good about the things we buy, but we also need to be mindful of the messages we're being bombarded with. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and make impulse purchases that we later regret.
Especially in the world of e-commerce, where everything is just a click away. It's like having a shopping mall in your pocket at all times.
Exactly. So how do we resist those temptations and make informed decisions that align with our values and budgets? I think it starts with self-awareness. Before you make a purchase, ask yourself, why am I drawn to this product? Is it because I genuinely love it and it will add value to my life? Or am I just trying to impress someone or keep up with the Joneses?
So it's about being honest with ourselves about our motivations. Sometimes we might be buying things for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to question the messages you're being bombarded with. Just because a brand claims to be exclusive or luxurious doesn't mean it actually is.
Right. It's like seeing through the marketing smoke and mirrors.
Precisely. Do your research, read reviews, compare prices before making a purchase. Don't just buy into the hype.
So be a discerning consumer. Educate yourself. And remember, true status comes from within. It's about your character, your values, your contributions to the world, not the things you own.
Well said. Material possessions can be fleeting, but genuine self-worth is lasting.
I love that. It's a great reminder that we don't need to buy into someone else's definition of success.
We can define it for ourselves.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation. But before we wrap up completely, I want to give a shout out to Growth Suite, our amazing sponsor.
They're the ones who make this deep dive possible.
And they offer some pretty awesome tools for e-commerce businesses looking to optimize their discount campaigns.
Don't forget, you can try Growth Suite for free on your Shopify store. Just head over to the Shopify App Store and start your free trial today.
We'll be right back after a quick message with some final thoughts and takeaways from our deep dive into the psychology of status symbols. Welcome back to E-commerce Psychology,
where we've been exploring the fascinating world of status symbols and how they shape our buying decisions.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the psychology behind our cravings to the strategies brands use to tap into those desires.
And we've talked about how those strategies play out in the e-commerce world, where everything is just a click away.
It's amazing how much goes into creating a brand that feels truly aspirational, especially in a crowded online marketplace.
It really is an art and a science.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What are the big aha moments that you hope they walk away with?
I think the most important takeaway is that status is subjective. It's not a one-size-fits-all concept. What might be considered high status in one context could be completely irrelevant in another.
That makes sense. It's all about understanding your target audience and what they value. What are their aspirations? What are they trying to signal to the world?
Exactly. And as consumers, we need to be aware of those differences and not let ourselves get caught up in comparisons. Someone else's status symbols might not align with our own values or goals.
It's like that saying, don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
That's a great analogy. We all have different journeys, different definitions of success.
And on the flip side, if you're an e-commerce business owner, I think the key takeaway is to be authentic and ethical in your approach to status marketing. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't exploit people's insecurities.
I couldn't agree more. Focus on building a brand that people can genuinely admire and respect, a brand that reflects your core values and resonates with your target audience.
It's about creating a brand that stands for something more than just status or exclusivity.
Absolutely. And remember, true status isn't something you buy, it's something you earn through hard work, dedication, and making a positive impact on the world.
That's a powerful message, and I think it's a great place to end our conversation.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
A huge thank you to Growth Suite for sponsoring this episode.
They're the ones who make these deep dives possible.
And don't forget to check out Growth Suite on the Shopify App Store to try it for free. Optimize your own store's discounts for maximum impact. They offer some fantastic tools for e-commerce businesses looking to optimize their discount campaigns and boost sales. That brings us to the end of our exploration into the psychology of status symbols. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit thought-provoking.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep questioning the world around you.